Hey, welcome back to Five Lakes Garage, and today we're actually going to revisit one of my earlier videos. Now, the walk around of this Jeep was actually the second video that we ever did, and when I went over it to see if I wanted to repost it, I saw how bad it was. So we're going to do a little bit better on this particular episode. And why are we doing this episode? Why are we actually walking around my Jeep here? Well, the Boss Garage up in Canada has a YouTube channel, very successful, and he's having an international car show. He did one last year and it was fantastic. This year we figured we can join the fun, and we're going to go ahead and submit this walk around for our build. Now, this build here started off in 2006, and it only just got roadworthy maybe 2 years ago. It took a lot of years. It was about 13 to 14 years to actually get it all done. There was a lot of things in between that kept us from finishing it. But it was a good thing that we waited, because it was a very good bonding experience between me and my children. And my camera girl just had a smirk on her face because she's, oh my gosh, Dad. Anyway, so this is a quick walk around of my 1980 CJ5. Okay, so why did we choose the CJ5, and why would you care? Well, I kind of argue with you that what exactly is the best vehicle to start with when you're starting to fabricate, weld, build, teach other people how to do stuff, other than a CJ5. The aftermarket is huge for Jeeps. And not only that, it is so simple that anybody can really tear it down. This whole thing got torn down in one weekend. It did take quite a few years to actually finish up. So anyway, so let's start with some of the modifications that we did. Starting off with the front, well, we needed a new bumper. The original bumper that it was on from the previous owner was just basically some 4-inch square tubing with some stuff welded onto it. Well, we didn't quite want to do that, so I made a bumper out of 1 3/4 120 wall DOM tubing. Started off with just one simple bar, and then I started adding stuff until I figured it looked good enough. We did add a winch. Yes, this is a 12,000 pound winch, and it is a complete overkill for a CJ5. But the price was right. It was only about 280 bucks from Harbor Freight. It couldn't go wrong. I did sell my nice 12,000 pound Ramsey that was on the front end of my diesel to buy a tubing bender, which helped me build the bumper, build the sliders, and also build the cage. So speaking of sliders, let's go look at those. Okay, so these sliders right here actually tie into the cage, both in the front and in the midsection, and also tied into the frame itself. You should always put rock sliders on your rig, because you do not want to try to have to repair the tub or the body of your rig because you smashed them up on the rocks. Rock sliders are awesome. Now, the cage itself is way over engineered. It is still 1 3/4 DOM 120 wall, and yes, it is very heavy. I probably wouldn't have put so many cross members in there, but I believe it is very safe. Since we're over here, when I was in high school, apparently I was a little bit smaller. I could drive one of these. I actually drove one for many years. It wasn't quite mine, but I borrowed it quite frequently, take it down to the beach and everything like that. But anyway, when I got to this one, I couldn't fit in it very well. So I actually had to cut into the rear fender well. Right. So if you actually can look right here, I actually took the fender well and pushed it back 3 inches. I cut a little strip out, pushed it back, welded it up, and then put some lizard skin throughout the entire tub. Lizard skin is a fantastic product. I definitely would recommend it for anybody. Alright, so now we're in the back half of the Jeep, and of course, if you got a front bumper, you got to have a back bumper to match it. So I built this one here out of the same tubing that we had, and of course I needed a swing out, because everybody wants a swing out, right? To hold my spare. This spindle right here actually came off of an old trailer that I had. I cut off the actual plate itself, and then, because I needed the bearings and the sleeves and everything like that to be able to do the swing out, it actually worked out pretty well. It's welded there, and everywhere. It's not coming off. Alright, so if you are out there on the trail, you got to have a high lift jack. Bam! So I got one right here on the cage. Undo your couple nuts, comes right off. I actually use this thing quite a bit, not to really jack up the Jeep, but to take tires on and off of rims. I seem to have a problem with that. So with the bumper itself, I do have a receiver hitch. It is a 2-inch receiver, and I welded it to a plate, and it is sandwiched between some 3/8 plate with 1/2-inch bolts holding it into the bumper. You got one there, you got one there, you got one there. It's not coming off unless the whole frame's coming with it. Anyway, you got to have the off-road lights. And this one right here did not have a tailgate when I first bought it, but I really wanted a tailgate so I can actually put my crap in there and I'm not actually going over the top. So I put a tailgate in. Alright, so as you can see, cut a big hole in the back of it. Needed some storage. If you know anything about a CJ5, this seat is usually on the tub floor. That means everybody in the back seat is going like this. Yeah, we didn't really want to do that. Let's give them some leg room and also give me some storage. What we use it for is all of our fluids. So we have engine oil, we have coolant, we have power steering fluid, everything you're going to need out on the trail if you ever have a problem. This is a Jeep, so it does leak quite a bit. As soon as you fix a leak, another one kind of pops up. It's kind of like my 12-valve diesel over there. Every time you fix one, boom, you got another one popping up. Just kind of like Rich says up in Canada, you know, it's rust prevention. So anyway, so now I have a storage area. This is actually made out of a 1-inch square tubing, and it's actually encased in a network rack. Yeah, got to recycle, got to be able to go to a salvage yard or wherever to find your steel. So coming over to this side over here, speaking of storage, everybody needs some camo lockers. You can actually put in, you got spare tools that you always carry along with you, and also all of your connections for your winch can go in here as well. You can lock them up because of course there's no top, you can get in there. So as you can see, I do have my quarantine family with me. Hello. They are nice and safe and ready for quarantine to be over. So looking at this side here, we are running on 33 12.5 15-inch wheels. These tires here are actually from the 90s. I was actually trying to replace them with the ones I have in the front that are actually 10 years older than these guys here. I just haven't had a chance to actually get that done, but it is part of the plan. We have new shocks. We have a 3-inch Old Man Emo lift kit on it. I put it on many years ago. Both axles have been gone through. It's an AMC 20 in the rear. It's a Model 30 in the front. Both of them have been set to 410 gears. Did that many years ago. This was one of the first things we did with this project, but I have to go into them again. Not that I did it wrong, it's just that I have lockers. Yes, they finally came in. I got one in yesterday. Another one's supposed to come in whenever they can get their back stock back up and running again. COVID has definitely put a crimp into a lot of the aftermarket and trying to get parts. So we are still in the front here. When I put the cage in, I did not realize, and this is part of the things you kind of go with when you're actually building a rig, is that I put the cage right in the way of the standard stock heater box. So I couldn't use that one, so I put it in an aftermarket heater box. But then all your hoses, all your vents, they don't work anymore. So I actually made one out of more network rack, just because I have plenty of those. And that is underneath the dash. I'm not sure if you can see it. Alright, so while we're inside, we do have twin sticks. It does have a Dana 300 transfer case. That means you can independently go high, low, 2, 4, all that good stuff. So I did put in twin sticks just so you can actually control that. It is a four-speed manual transmission. It actually shifts really well. Fourth gear gets a little wobbly. I do have to address that at one point. Also, center console. Never really liked any of the ones I saw online. So I got with my oldest daughter and we designed one, and now we made it again out of network racks because I have plenty of those, and we put all the electrical and all my switches up in there, and the lockers that come in, yes, they're gonna be in the center console, and I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. Anyway, so let's come on to the front. All right, so this is the standard OEM 258 straight six. It is a torquey little motor, does not have a lot of power, which is sad, but it's okay though. It does have enough to get this thing down the road. It doesn't weigh much. It's not like I'm pulling a heavy trailer. That's what the 12 valve's for. So this guy works pretty well, especially off-road with the modifications that we've done so far. A couple things we did do is actually put a new radiator in. That's actually for a V8, and just wanted to make sure this guy's going to stay cool all the way through the trail. I could not find a 1980 water overflow bucket, so I got one for an 81, and of course it does not fit, so I had to make a new bracket. And guess what? Out of a network crack. That's right. The electrical on this thing was completely in shambles. It's still not 100%. I'm still working on that. But one thing that we did do, put in dual batteries. We have a Blue C dual battery connection right here, so we can actually connect both of them together. It is automatic. There's a console in the cab that you can switch on and off. So I have one running for the Jeep itself, and I have another one running for all the accessories. The winch, the lights, the CV, everything else runs off the other battery. To isolate them down, I do have two main circuit breakers, so I can click off one, click off the other one. Now the Jeep is completely dead. Turn them back on, and now we have power. So that actually works out great. But the biggest and the best improvement that we have done so far for this Jeep was, okay, so we have a Sniper BBD fuel injection system. You have your fuel rail right up front. You got your fuel regulator right here. We have AN fittings all the way around. Fantastic. I did actually pick up a new pressure gauge just to make sure that I was getting enough pressure. I was having a pump issue. Did get a new pump to actually go into the tank itself, which has been flawless and has been working great. The ECU is actually right here in the back. The wiring is very simple. You have like 4 wires and you're ready to go. And you also have hooks up to your regular linkage. Now at the very beginning, one thing I definitely wanted to do was actually work on the body work. It is a CJ5, and it's a great platform to learn how to do body work. The steel is big enough, it's thick enough to where it's a little bit more forgiving. You get to the later model cars now, it's like paper thin, it's like tin foil. You put a little bit of weld on it, and boom, you got waves everywhere. This is a very good platform to start with. I definitely highly recommend it to just about anybody. The only thing I would change about the bodywork would be actually paint it correctly. I did paint it myself. We built a paint booth in the garage, and it didn't go out very well. I had too much pressure into the gun. I know what I did wrong. I just got to redo it, and by stripping it down and actually redoing it. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but that is one other thing I would like to do. So some of the other changes I would like to do would be to make sure a top actually fits on this thing. I have a couple other ideas that I want to put a piece of fabric right behind the driver so that it will just encapsulate the cabin up front so that it won't be freezing your butt off in the wintertime. Right now it's a summertime thing. I just stick it in the garage when I'm not running it. Alright, one thing I definitely would like to change on this rig would be the seats. I do need to get some suspension seats. When you come off of a ledge, you come off of some rocks, that seat will fully compress, and it tires you out by the end of the day. So I do want to get some Mastercraft or something like that to actually put into this thing. But that's going to be later on. Next thing would be put lockers in. Like I said, I have them on order. One came in yesterday, the other one will come in whenever it does actually get here. And then once that happens, it's time to send it. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I'd highly recommend a CJ or just an early model Jeep to actually start with. When we first started this project, I finally was able to get my first welder. I got my cutoff wheels, I got torches, benders. No matter what you needed, you went ahead and got, and now I use them on a daily basis almost. It has been fantastic. So if you're trying to get into the business, trying to get into a hobby, highly recommend an old Jeep. Aftermarket is everywhere for this thing. So anyway, thanks again, Rich, for putting on the Quarantine Car Show, and all of the judges that are helping out with this project, everybody behind the scenes, the editors, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for this. I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty awesome, just like it was last year. So thanks again for watching, and we will catch you guys later.